This episode of the MSP podcast is brought to you by Big Tex Outdoors. Everything you could possibly need for your firearm. If he doesn't have it, you probably don't need it. And PHLster holsters. Can't do a sub 5-second fast drill? We'll get a PHLster holster. If you still can't, well, at least you know it's not the holster's fault. Hey guys, welcome to the Modern Samurai Project podcast, where we talk to people who are shining examples of the self-reliant lifestyle. Why do I say self-reliant instead of the 2A type of lifestyle? Because it's more than just GATS, right? It has to do with physical fitness, working out, jiu-jitsu, all martial arts, nutrition, and, protecting yourself. Because no one's coming to save you. Today, very, very excited to have my friend Jay Beal on. And you're asking yourself, Jay Beal? Who the fuck is Jay Beal? Oh, you're all going to find out who Jay Beal is, right? So normally, and he's all nervous and shit because he doesn't think he deserves to be on here. But he
absolutely not.
He absolutely does, and I'm going to tell you why, right? So part of my job, right, is, as I've said before, that this is the Get Better podcast, right? And I don't care if you have, 10 million followers on Instagram or if you're famous in the tactical world or whatnot. If I know somebody that I think can help my audience get better, they're going to be on the show. And this dude today, I've got this feeling, is going to help you get better. Hell, after talking to him, he's probably going to make me better, right? So as per my thing, I don't like to go into introductions, but I am a little bit for Jay, okay? So Jay is a competitive shooter. You're in Maine, right? Is that where you live, brother?
Yep.
He lives up in Maine. I hate labeling people as competitive shooters because shooting is shooting, right? You can say whether or not you carry a gun or not, but how I came across him was, the various internets and stuff, primary and secondary, I believe. But how I got to know about him is that his accomplishments in competitive shooting, which he has not been shooting officially in USPSA for that long. I'm looking at his registration date here is September 29th of 2017. Not even 2 years. Damn you, Jay. Damn you. The reason why I noticed him is because, he took on this crazy project of shooting open from concealment with a Glock. And the next thing I know, this dude made master, right? So let me explain again for you guys what that means, right? Open class, he shoots a gun with a dot. It's a Glock, but he wanted to shoot it from concealment. So the only class for you is open, right? You were using major hit factor or major power factor, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What were you shooting, like Buffalo Boar or some shit like that?
Yeah. That was the first one I found, and then Underwood, which I had never heard of, but 147 grain 9mm, pushing around like 180 power factor or something like that. Factory stuff.
Not 180 power factor because, dude, gamers only shoot powder puff stuff, bro. Right. So he did that, watched, some of his videos, very impressed with it. So I wanted to have him on here talking a little bit about that discovery, why he did something crazy like that and not be competitive and blah, blah, blah. And now he's shooting carry optics, and he has the distinct honor, right? So what we have is the top 20 in USPSA. It's not really the top 20, but those people with the highest classifications in their division gets posted on the top 20 list. And I've been on that list now for over a year, whether it be A going into master. And my man Jay kicked me off the master top 20. And I couldn't be prouder of it, man, because the dude's awesome. Anyway, enough about him. Jay, other than what I said, or you can extrapolate on that too, tell us a little bit about yourself and why the hell you did this crazy shit by shooting open from concealment.
Yeah, I had been shooting for probably a year before I joined USPSA, and I think I had gone on and been following primary and secondary for a while, and there was an episode. It was like Tactical Gamers or something like that.
Oh yeah, the one that I ran. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I listened to that, and before that, I really, I'd seen your stuff with competitive shooting, and then listen to all those people talk about like, oh, you got to go compete, and so I think that was on that was the day that I signed up with USPSA. So I went and registered there, and just went full into it, and I was like, wow, what's the highest? You got these rankings in USPSA. What's the highest one? It's GM. Okay, that's what I want to do. Anything in between, I don't care about. I want to get to what's the best.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, I think Arik Levy was on that podcast.
Yep.
And then I started listening to his shows, and then heard about Steve Anderson from him. And then I'm probably going to talk about Steve a lot, because literally everything that, information everywhere from you and Steve and just whoever. I haven't really taken much classes. I think I took a class with MDFI Michigan, with Trek.
Yeah.
Took a couple classes with him like the year before, and then that's it. And everything else has just been like off of YouTube and podcasts.
And let's talk about that, dude, because there's a fine line, right? People say, "Oh, don't learn shit off of YouTube," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude. Learning is learning, right? So, but as far as Steve goes, man, talk all you want about Steve, dude, because I think that I have the unofficial record. I have sold more refinement and repetition books than any other person other than Steve Anderson on the face of this earth. I'm just saying. Maybe Arik Levy has me by a little bit, but
it's close.
Close. I'm bigger than he is, so I'll take the title. Love you, Arik. Love you, buddy. Anyway, please continue, Ahead.
So anyway, I joined USPSA and was like, all right, what, full into what can I shoot? What should I shoot? I mean, like I think at that point, I think I had built a, Roland Special-ish gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, can I shoot this? Okay, I can shoot it in open division. And I wanted to carry the same way that I was from appendix. And I figured, that's the division to shoot, and found some matches, which I'm not close to very many matches. I think the closest one right now is a couple hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brother and I, went to a match. I didn't know what to expect. And before that was a month before that, I heard Steve Anderson, and I had been dry firing. So I shot my first match in October. So it was about a month after I had signed up with USPSA. And I had been dry firing every day for that month for, like an hour before that match. And went out and shot that match, and everyone was like, what are you doing from concealment? Like, what do you, what's going on there?
You're not going to be competitive.
Yeah. And now, to be honest, there's no heat USPSA wise in my area, but I went out and I think I came in first overall at that match. There was like 30 people there, but there's high, like mid B class was the heat. So that was interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, well, what do I have to do? That was interesting. That motivated me more to just keep practicing, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just, I'm really competitive. And so I just trying to do everything I can, work harder than everybody else, and try to get better.
Okay, so let's define that. Let's define you getting better and training as much as you can. If you're at home right now and you're like, hey man, I want to go live fire, what does that involve? How far is the nearest range from you? Yada yada. So let's define. How many times a week do you live fire?
Once a week live fire. It's pretty easy for me to go out. I work on a farm, and so it's just you can go out back and shoot. But
okay.
For kind of what I'm on with a budget, it's once a week, and I shoot 50 rounds. No, 50, maybe 100, but that's what it is. Live fire.
You are pissing the entire internet off right now. That's awesome. Okay, dry fire. How often do you dry fire?
Every day, unless there's a match.
Okay.
And so every day, sometimes twice a day. And so usually that's in the morning. And it's for about an hour, and I'm doing Steve Anderson's first 12 drills.
First 12, not the first 10. You're actually doing all 12.
First 12, yeah. So strong hand, weak hand in there, and really, like my goal from the beginning was like I care a little bit more about trying to get the classification. I'm not trying to shoot well in matches necessarily, so I'm not doing a lot of stuff on the move. Should be.
Yeah,
but
but you
I'm
move really well, dude. Phrasing, but you're a thin, lighter guy, and I've watched your movement in stages, and it's very, very good. So, but this is your journey, man. Like, people say like, oh, paper M or paper GM, you got to win matches or it doesn't mean anything. Guys, honestly, nothing means anything unless it means something to you. So if your deal is you want to get to M or you want to get to GM and you want to do it your way, everybody else can go pound sand. You got to do it your way, right? So again, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I'm very passionate. I'm very excited about your journey here and getting that message out to people. So I'm going to interrupt. I apologize again, but
you're all good.
It's my fucking podcast. So anyway,
it is.
Please continue, my friend.
I don't know. So just gun handling. So just obsessively working on draws and reloads, and reload, transfer your weak hand, and just 6 reload 6 on targets, on just 3 targets out there, and just pushing down part time. So I gotten a timer at that. I gotten a timer a little bit before that because I've been following you out there, and I was like, well, I want to do a fast drill kind of fast, and so I need a timer to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a timer, and just I'm always pushing the part time down, still now, just trying to get faster.
Yeah.
And so the first 12 drills, if people don't know them, you basically draw the gun a whole bunch of times, and then you reload the gun a whole bunch of times, and you transition the gun a lot. And that's it. It's basically that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I tell people is that those first 12 drills, regardless if you compete or not, regardless if you go from concealment or not, they break down every single skill for a stand and deliver type of performance.
Yep.
Right. More importantly than that, especially for the newbie, are the hints he has in the book on how to get faster through efficiency, and then the log book to where you keep on tracking things.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I'm doing that as well the whole time. So I got a Google Doc all with when I practiced and how long I practiced and what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been running so I've been doing that for a year now.
Okay.
And so keeping track of everything that I was doing as well. It was big because it's also like you write it down after you practice. So it's another incentive to keep practicing every day.
Okay. So let's back up a little bit before the internet goes, well, dude, he was a SEAL in his previous life or something like that, right? So you live on a farm, that's what you do for a living, or
yeah, so I my wife and I take care of goats on a farm, and so I take care of the goats, and she makes cheese. And I'm just I'm a pretty normal person. We're not around a lot of people. We're in a small town here in Maine, and that's what I do. And I think I think I've been shooting for maybe 2 or 3 years now.
That's awesome, dude. So were you a high school or collegiate level athlete?
I played baseball a little bit. I didn't get super serious with that.
I said athlete. I said
athlete. Oh, right.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Baseball, whatever.
Yeah. It's a
mean,
pastime, not a sport. No, I'm kidding. Now the internet hates me, man. Anyway, keep on going.
I think I played guitar pretty seriously for when I starting out when I was really young,
Okay.
and so I've gotten really into several things along the way. So I played guitar pretty intensely and practiced a lot with that. And yeah. And then in high school, friends of mine, they'll be like things, like riding a unicycle. My friend can ride a unicycle, so I'm like, oh, well, let's go do that, and then we try to practice that, and we, what little things like that. They just try and work really hard to get. I don't have any, talents naturally. I just get really hyper focused on something.
Dude,
Um,
hyperdrive is a talent, man. And so it's interesting you bring up the musician, especially the guitar playing things, man. Across the board, right? I have still not come across the exception that proves the rule, though,
yep.
in that anybody that has an activity, whether it be a sport or they're a musician or something like that, that requires finger dexterity, right? Individual finger dexterity. Guitar players, any sort of like brass players, musicians in general, piano players, or sports that require a lot of hand articulation, quarterbacks.
Yep.
Um, uh, those types of guys are often always better off the bat with trigger control, right? As opposed to other types of guys, jujitsu guys, wrestlers, football linemen, those types of guys where everything is grabbed with your entire hand, right? And everything you grab like a hammer, those dudes fucking suck, right? In the beginning, it's not their
In the
fault.
beginning. Yep.
Dude, I had a buddy. I won't mention Chris's last name, but I mean, you see guys perform, right, or when they do their sport, man. And this guy's jujitsu, it was beautiful. I mean, I don't want to sound like uh, gay, Ghey, by the way. Um, but you would watch him even when he would get submitted. You're like, damn, dude, that was fucking beautiful. You know what I mean? Then I took him out for a shooting lesson, and at 3 yards, dude, he was dropping that thing like you couldn't believe. And it wasn't because of physicality. It wasn't because of athletic prowess. It wasn't because he didn't understand. He's just used to grabbing everything with his entire hand, so he had no finger articulation. So anyway, I wanted to get that out to the net, and you bring up the guitar thing, guitar playing thing was appropriate. So where did we leave? So that was basically your background, right? You're a hardworking dude, and you practice insanely.
Yeah, and that's practice a lot, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, good ones like this one right here that
No,
we're
there you
happy
go.
to be on. Modern
Awesome.
Samurai Project.
There you go. There
Go
you go, man.
subscribe.
Yeah, there you go. Like, share, subscribe, visit the sponsors. Anyway,
Yeah.
So cool. All right. So you're going out, you're practicing and stuff like that. Let's talk about your kit, right? And regardless of what the internet says, kit matters. Okay. Because if you don't think about what you're going to do, especially when you are at a disadvantage going from concealment, right? And your dot was slide mounted, right?
Slide mounted. I think it was just on a Glock 17.
Just on a Glock 17. Whereas most open guns are frame mounted, so the dot moves less. Now, you did do some modifications to it to make it more open-esque as opposed to a classic Roland Special. So it was a 17, right?
Yep, it was a 17, a little bigger than a 19. Yep.
Okay.
I started out with the KKM comp, and then after getting major power factor, I wanted to put a bigger comp on there, so I went to the SJC 5 port, and then eventually got the 11 port on there, which I don't know if it made a difference or not. I thought it did, which was enough for me. So, and then the biggest magwell I could find on there, the heaviest magwell. So that's like the SJC, the big one, which weighs like 9 ounces or something like that. So that's nice.
Okay.
But and so in that, that was the final iteration of it, and that magwell is not easily concealable.
Yeah.
And so eventually I started to build the gun to compete and not to carry. Though I still tried to carry it, which was a little silly. But anyway, Glock 17, and then a Surefire on there as well, which I later on drilled out and filled with lead. So I got that light to weigh over 10 ounces, I think. And so the gun was really heavy.
Jay, if it doesn't work, you're faking it. Why would you even have that on the gun? I mean, there's no application to real world, if you're going to get in the streets, right? So why did you do that?
Oh, for splits, so you can split the gun really fast, I don't know. I was looking for anything possible, which now looking back at it, none of that was necessary. I don't even think I needed a magwell on there. I don't think it helped that much. I used the light because that was the holster I had. It fit for an X300, so that's what it was. And so,
and Bob Vogel.
Right. And I saw he did that. So I was like, well, okay, there you go.
Yeah, there you go, man.
So a lot of that stuff I don't think was necessary. Like maybe the magwell helped a little bit, and some of the weight helped a little bit, but I mean, it's a red dot and a compensator. That was it.
So you think the biggest thing, other than the dot, right? Because
dot.
Otherwise you'd be shooting open, right? Or I'm sorry, shooting limited.
Yeah.
So other than the dot, though, you think the compensator had the biggest impact in shooting flat?
I think so. It kept the muzzle down a little bit with major power factor at least. And those two things that kind of made the gun, and the rest was just kind of like experimenting with stuff, thinking that it would help, and maybe it did. Mentally it helped, probably. I didn't really know what I was doing, so that was okay.
Okay. So 2 questions for you on that gun, right? I'm going to bring them up now because I don't want to forget, right?
Yep.
You put a little bit of a thumb rest on that thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then the second question is like, so you were shooting the Underwood power factor ammo. Did your Glock break all the time? So do the first one first. Talk about the thumb rest. Did that help? How did you modify your holster? And didn't that thing dig into your gut a lot?
Yeah. So the thumb rest was another thing that you can do in open and limited. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And so I made my own out of just some aluminum and made the ledge for my thumb narrow enough. So it wouldn't dig in. It didn't stick out any more than like, a mag release or something like that. Wasn't crazy. But that helped me. And even now shooting carry optics, I wish I could use a thumb rest because it helped with consistency, getting the left hand, or I'm right-handed. So getting my support hand on the gun.
Okay. So basically
in a consistent place.
So basically what you did is you made an accelerator cut, but with a metal instead of just
I made it a little bit higher. Yeah, I kind of made it just where I wanted to, and so I of course I drilled holes in the frame of the gun, and it's pretty sloppy, and but things still worked. So there's a hole in the side of the gun, and then I think where the trigger pin actually went through was where I put another pin in to attach the back end of that plate.
Interesting. And that helped. You think that helped a lot more with the grip or keeping the muzzle flat?
Entirely with the grip. I think keeping the muzzle down. It didn't seem. I don't think it helped with that. I think it was just consistently getting the same grip every time, which is just huge. And I'm still working on that now. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Then, definitely just consistency.
So you competed this way because you wanted to compete pretty close to the way that you carry every day, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you do carry every day, right? Yeah. I mean, we're legally. Well, Maine's free. Maine, right? We've hopped over the communism part of the country, and Maine is pretty free.
Right? Maine, yeah, you don't. They don't require a permit to carry.
It is a constitutional carry. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So when you went from this modified gun, and then you still dry fire with your everyday carry gun, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Right. Was it horrible? Were the training scars from competition not allowing you to get a proper grip because you didn't have a thumb rest anymore? You want to talk a little bit about? Let's talk a little bit about that, right? Were there any things you had to adapt to because you're training so much with your competition gun? Talk a little bit about that.
I don't really not. It was easy. It's easy to go back and forth, especially. I mean, are you talking now? Now I'm shooting carry optics, so that's slightly different. But when I was shooting,
we can get into carry optics in a second, right? We'll get into carry optics in a second. I'm talking about this from this modified space gun to your everyday carry gun. I mean, did you go through some like major epiphany that you need to dry fire with your regular gun an extra hour to overcome all these horrible training scars from competition?
No, not at all. I mean, I was using the same holster, just a different one with a real light on it, and everything was in the same exact spot, and everything. There was no. I don't think there's any negative about it. It was only good.
It was only good. So talk about. I mean, so did you retain most of the skills from your competition dry fire to your EDC dry fire, or was it even necessary to do EDC dry fire because it was a 1-to-1, carry?
At that time it was really 1-to-1. I was drawing from. I had changed my shirt a little bit, and cut my shirt for my competition shirt, so that was the difference, I think.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the only thing. I'd wear a different shirt, but the draw was the same. It was the percentage of times that you hit the draw perfectly,
right,
changed.
Right.
And so that, the draw was the big thing, but I'm doing that anyway with my competition dry fire. And so, no, not a huge difference back then. No, not at all.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So you got this plastic gun, right?
Yep.
That in no way can you do great things with that in open. And it will break every other match, or every match actually, by shooting major power factor ammo. What was your experience in that?
It worked. It worked better than the other open guns that I was shooting around. People with 2011s. It worked more reliably than those ones. It seemed to be, which I know that I think it was the people not maintaining them correctly. But so it worked. It worked better in that stance. But no, it was fine. It for shooting locally, it could hang, and I shot Area 7 as well, and did all right there with it. I did end up cracking the slide with it, shooting major power factor. I don't think the guns are meant to handle that.
They're not. But how long did it take for you to do that? How many rounds do you think in practice, competition, everything?
It was maybe 3,000 rounds or so.
3,000 rounds.
Yeah, to crack it, which I guess isn't really that much. I mean, I wasn't live firing that much with it. So, and I was really only shooting major power factor in matches. I wasn't practicing with it, because it was too expensive.
Okay.
And so, it cracked. Yeah. I mean, I could have dropped the gun too. I'm not sure if it was a major power factor or not, but that was what happened. So I swapped it out to an MOS slide, same kind of deal, and that one never broke on me. So
wait a minute, you're shooting an MOS in open with major power factor?
Oh yeah, held 0 too. That's weird.
Bro, so you need to put boards up on the windows, because all the internet people are saying that it sucks, right? And again, me going, I don't know, man, but I've been shooting this MOS now, right, for a while, and I haven't had any issues with it. When I was in RMR, you're shooting an RMR. What are you shooting? An RMR?
Yep, RMR 07, the 6.5 MOA or whatever that is.
Okay, dude. So that's your first mistake, bro. Right? RMR windows are too small to be competitive with, right? You got to get a big ass delta point. So there you go. Maybe now you can make GM.
Anyway, that was it. I would have made GM if I had a bigger
if you had a delta point. Exactly. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to talk about kit, right? Because one of the things I say about competition, right, that or people say about competition that I always laugh about, is that, well, it's fine for competition, but it's not duty grade.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you know how many guns, equipment, but get absolutely destroyed in competition?
Oh yeah.
Right? Right? I mean, again, I'm not a duty guy. Everybody knows non-mil, non-LE, love all my face shooter friends and things of that nature, right? But and I've seen duty guns that, they're kind of beat up on the outside, but they never get shot, and in competition, man, you put things through the fucking ringer, So let's talk about your kit, dude. I want to talk about everything. We'll start off with your shirt. What did you do?
Yeah.
Because you have like every time I see you, right, you have like this billowy t-shirt thing that just seems to like
Yeah.
touch it and it gets up to your sternum and
So that my end shirt there was some. It was just a cotton shirt that was a little large for me.
Mhm.
Um, and I ended up putting a piece of grip tape on the chest.
Ah,
Um, but only for, I mean, that's really for the wrist above shoulders draws or a turn and draw, for something to grab, because I was finding my hand slipping on the shirt was slowing me down with those ones.
grip
And so
tape
there
on the
was
outside of the shirt or the inside
on
of the shirt?
on the outside of the shirt for my left hand to grab.
Interesting.
And so that made those draws more equal out with the hands relaxed at sides draw. Um, and
Let me ask you a
again,
question.
yeah,
Was it because of the grip tape traction, or was it just that because it was stiff and it
I think
provided a hook?
probably both. I think, yeah, because you can hook under that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think I ended up with grip tape because that's what was there, and it kind of stayed on when I washed the shirt, so that was okay. Um, and so so grip tape on there, and then I cut out to, because the shirt hung lower. It was a large shirt, so it hung well below my belt. So I cut up to the belt, um, and I kind of cut a rounded part up to the belt, where just below where the gun was, in appendix, so that
Okay.
when I grabbed the grip tape, or when I pulled the shirt out of the way to draw, I wasn't pulling as much shirt out of the way, because
Right.
I want to compete. And so
Right.
um,
Sure.
from a competitive standpoint, I wanted to get everything that I could, which
And there are no
yeah,
rules on your on your clothes. I mean, until you get to the
right,
belt and stuff like that. But
yeah,
pants, shoes, shirt, there's not. And I've had because I'm going to this season I'm going to try and make GM and carry optics, right? But after that,
yep,
I'm shooting open from concealment. Who knows if it's I may shoot open from concealment on regular matches and just do like classifier matches or something like that from my carry optics rig because it's just fun.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I've been thinking of modifications to a shirt that could be done to a regular shirt to make everything easier, right? And
yeah,
that stiff hook type thing you're talking about has been going through my head. You and I will talk offline about this. I don't want the
for sure.
internet to get ahead of us.
No, no,
So,
no.
all right. So, any modifications to the shirt? I'm sorry if you said this already, but any modifications to the shirt to get to get to the reload easier? Where was your mag pouch on your
Yep.
person, angle, stuff like that? Talk about that.
So nothing. I had tried the same thing with grip tape by the mag pouch, it kind of over the mag pouch, but uh, that ended up being a little annoying. I couldn't get. It didn't seem to need it. There was less movement of the shirt
Mm-hmm.
getting to a reload, uh, and so with that, the shirt stayed long there as well, and that was also sitting appendix right up front, kind of just I guess 11 o'clock, as close to center as I could get it. Um, and that was canted, 45
Yep.
degrees. Uh, and that was just a mag pouch that I kind of made up myself with some, like, I had some G code mag pouches or something like that. And so I cut them up um, and got it to ride as high as I possibly could,
Mm-hmm.
uh, w- to just get as much of a grip on the mag that I could.
Sure.
And so that was right there. No modifications there with the shirt, and just the magazine sticking up as high as possible.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
yep.
What was the holster? I know we talked about the holster. What it was a X300
Yep.
compatible, but what holster did you make it? Did you get it from somewhere? How'd you modify it?
I think I have it right here actually. This is uh, this is a G code holster. I
Okay.
think it's the Eclipse or something like that. And I've done a lot of I modified it a lot because I wanted to sit just so. Um, and so there on the back, it's cut out for my thumb rest as well.
Okay.
And then I made a claw for it in attempts to make it more concealable, which I think helped a lot.
Put the thing back up, man, because that claw
Yeah,
is. And is that the
it's a
thing you wear
big.
that every day too?
Yeah, so I have another one that's not cut out for the thumb rest.
Okay.
And the claw pushes the grip in just a ton. And so I know a lot of people make claws out there, and I was using them, but they were bending on me. So this one's made out of aluminum. And it sticks way far out to the end of the grip on like a 17.
Yeah.
And so that's just a lot of leverage pushing the butt of the gun in,
Okay.
to keep that from printing.
And extending the belt line out so that your shirt rolls over the butt. I always get confused with that, right? I mean, I'm friends with a lot of holster makers. You know, obviously I'm sponsored by John over at PHLster. Good friends with Tom and Spencer. You know, Tom from Dark Star. But I always wonder the way they never talk about the wing part. Yes, it pushes the butt of the gun in it, but more importantly, I think
equally.
more importantly, it pushes the belt line out so that the shirt rests on the belt line and creates that much more space for it.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And basically what you did is you just created a longer one, pushing out the belt line further out for a bigger gun.
Yep.
I dig it, man. I dig it a lot.
And then with this one, with my holster set up for competition, I took any kind of retention out of it, so that it doesn't click in, or whatever. Because you got to get, again. Yeah, I'm trying to. It's a time. You got to go fast. So it was any kind of retention was out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the holster. And then I was using a belt, was an outer competition belt. So I think it was a Black Scorpion gear or any of those, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was just threaded through, because any.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I threaded that through because I have, other belts. Just those were the stiffest ones I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I threaded that through, and then the gun wouldn't move at all with my pants.
Okay.
Drawing it.
Okay. Getting hyper technical because those guys that walk that line of tactical self-defense gamer, right? So how do you wear your belt? Do you wear it to where the end is in front of your body or somewhere they're in, or do you thread it to where the ends are behind you so you have the whole flat area to use?
Yeah, so with this one, the clips are far apart, and so I put the end off to the side.
Okay.
Just off to my right side, which again, that went along with the same idea as the claw, because there's a bulge there, which is then providing more of a drape for the shirt, that less appearance for the grip, I guess.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's off to the side.
And how different is your EDC holster from that one, other than the cut for the thumb rest?
The cut, that's it. It's the same. I mean,
so even with that
holster.
Big ass wing, and everything. God bless you, man.
It's comfortable too.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. You did something to get more competitive in competition, and it had a carryover to make you more efficient in your everyday carry.
Absolutely.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. We need to take out an insurance policy on you, right? Because the internet trolls are just going to fucking go crazy. God love you, man. God love you. I'm there for you, bro. I'm there for you, though. Anyway, okay. So pants, anything about pants that you found?
I think the biggest thing was I'd use the same pair of pants for a competition because I didn't want to unthread that belt too many times. So and then I found some pants that were like 2% spandex, so that you could bend around a little bit, which was nice. So like
I mean, you can name those. What are those, like Pranas or some shit like that?
These are like some Carhartt ones. These are like Carhartt. I don't know what they're like.
You are a
Carhartt
farmer.
Flex.
You are a farmer. So.
and then I've replaced all my pants with them, because then I don't, you can bend around places. And
nice.
It's nice. So just Carhartt.
And according to the internet, they're bulletproof.
That's right.
Right? They're bulletproof. Awesome. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you decided, right? You made master. Right now you're hanging out. You're high. You're still at your high, which was 87.81, right? And to remind people about what it means when you make master, right? So right now, because I'm associated with the club, I can look up anybody on the internet, right? That competes in USPSA. If you are a member and you have shot one match and shot a classifier, I can find you by your last name. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. That's how I know when he signed up for USPSA. That's how I know what his highs are. I can look up every single classifier that he has shot. Right. So when we talk about verifiable metrics, there you go. There you go. And I'll say this again. If you run across a guy and his major thing is that he's a competitive shooter, right? Unless it's 3-gun. I don't know how that shit works. Who cares? But he says he's a competitive pistol shooter. You can look him up, whether it be Steel Challenge, USPSA, or IDPA. You can look them up. So if they don't say what classification they are, we're not saying we're M's or GM's or whatever because we're being braggadocious. It's because it's hard goddamn work, and we're going to say that. Plus, the other guy who's not saying that, what does that mean? What does that mean to you, bro? When someone says I'm a competitive shooter, what's the first question you ask that guy?
Oh yeah, what class do you? What class are you? You know, where do you shoot? What club do you shoot?
And if he beats,
what's your percentage?
Yeah, if he beats around the bush, what's that mean?
Yeah, I don't think they've done it very long or
Yeah,
at
you're
all.
either low C or you're a D or
Right.
you shot a couple of outlaws, right? And now you're a competitive shooter. I'm like, come on, bro. If you're gonna steal valor, go full retard, dude, and steal shit worth something. You know what I mean? So, all right. So you did all that, right?
Yep.
And from our conversation, the major ammo, because you weren't reloading it, you were buying it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Got a bit expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't do that. Reload stuff if you can. Which I don't know why I didn't just start doing that, and I'm still not reloading. So.
Well, dude, you packed in a lot of things, a lot of experience, a lot of decisions in a very short period of time, you know. So getting your perfect reloading bench set up, I actually think would have hurt you. I think it would have set you back because reloading is a science and an art unto itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you decided to go to carry optics and guys, so you don't carry optics, you have to shoot with a holster and reloads at the hip, behind the hip, depending. I forget what the rule is. I think it's behind the hip, right? So you couldn't do, and you can do it from concealment, but 3 o'clock concealment, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. When's it gonna do that?
Yeah. So if you're gonna do it, you started to play the game as is.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to play the game, and so I had spent. I shot open from concealment for 7 or 8 months doing that. And then I was like, all right, I want to, if I'm gonna, I didn't doubt that maybe I could make GM from concealment and open, but it was too expensive for me at the time to do that, and I wanted to just play the game. I wanted to be,
Yep.
I wanted to get every advantage that I could possibly get.
Yeah.
Which I was trying to do from concealment, but you can only go so far.
Right.
And so I just, I wanted to still shoot a dot, and so I didn't want to get a whole. I wanted to still shoot a Glock because that's what I have, and so carry optics it was.
Okay. And then you busted right out the gate, right?
Yep.
Was it a classifier match when you made master, or because you busted right out of the gate with a 92.4537 percentage?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a classifier match. I think maybe I shot a classifier match and got my last one for the initial 4, because in USPSA, their first 4 initial classification is your first 4.
Yep.
Or best 4 out of your first 6 classifiers.
No, it's your first 4.
First 4.
Boom, and then when you go to your, then it's the next 6, top 4, and then when you get 8, it's the top 6, drop the bottom 2.
Okay, yeah. And so I think it was a couple matches. So I came out and I think a lot of that was not putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I think the mental aspect of competitive shooting, or just shooting in general, or performance, was huge in not putting pressure on myself to perform, really. So carry optics, I shot it, I think went to a match and I shot, an 86. And so I was like, okay. And on that classifier there, I had a miss. And so and it still ended up being an 86%. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
Blaze. Were all the other hits good?
I think they were good. It was for Bill drill, the classifier, so that they had targets out at 35 yards, and so it's really.
Right.
I forget. Anyway, I threw one off at the 35, and I think the rest of them were good. And so that was my first classifier, and then right after that, the next match I shot 100% on. I don't remember which one it was.
I just watched it the other day. I can't remember that either, but
it's like the V behind a barricade, and you got 8 reload 6 or something.
How many? It's 6 targets, right? Is it 6 targets?
There's 8, so you got to shoot. Or wait,
6 from one side, or 5 from one side, 3 to the. Yeah. I just watched that the other day. I may put this up on the video. It doesn't play well on audio, but who cares? It's my podcast. Yeah. So from one side, you got to do 4, reload, and then do the rest.
And yep. And so that was my first 100% shooting. I mean, I think my best shooting in from concealment was I think I had a 95. I had 195%. And so I shot 100 over there. So that was cool. And so after that, I think I had like an 88 in there and maybe a 96 or something. I forget whatever else after that to get me to that initial 92.
Right
there.
So let's see. So of your initial, let's see, 4, you did an 86, a 63, a 100, and a 62.
So I think the 62 and 63 must have gotten bumped out. And not counted for that
you
initial.
got your 6, right? Because the next one's 73 and then 85. So, and then now with yours, you got a whole bunch of 85s, 96s, 94s, 90s. One you just flubbed in 39, so that didn't hurt. 69 didn't hurt you, but the consistency is high 80s, low 90s, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So no, that was surprising. I didn't think coming out and shooting outside the waistband like that would work out that way. And it's probably, I think the open classifiers they're all different. I mean, we were talking about the math earlier with it, and it's different with different things. So I think that 100% that I shot in carry optics would have been, in open. Obviously, I'm shooting minor power factor, but would have been a 75% in open. So you're looking at it's way different, going from division to division.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. So you're going for Grandmaster and carry optics, right? That's the new thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So any modifications in your training program, anything you have observed which may be different that you've had to tweak between open concealment to open division concealment to carry optics from an open holster?
Yeah. It was a little weird. I had never shot anything other than inside the waistband appendix before shooting carry optics. And so that was a little, there was a couple weeks there, transition period in the competitive stuff to get that done and to get my draws where they were and better than they were from concealment. Or I don't even think they're better. I think it was the same. Getting stuff back down to my times and the reloads. And making that happen. And other than that, I'm doing the same drills, first 12, and just doing that every day. And that happened pretty quick, but it was a couple weeks before it kind of things felt normal.
Yeah. So what's your draw now from appendix, right, concealed to open strong side? Is there a difference in your draws, or time-wise, just time-wise?
Time-wise, right up close on a target live fire. I think appendix, the best one I got was like it was like a 65, 68 or something, right up close on a target. So you're just ripping on a 3-yard target. And then from an open open outside the waistband, that was like a 54. Just, and I'm doing a scoop draw kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where.
What about at 7 yards where aiming starts to actually matter? What do you think?
Yeah. I think 75, 80 outside the waistband, and then from concealment, I think it was 90s 1 second around there. So
Yeah,
I think it's a
you're
10th.
faster than that, dude.
Yeah.
I think you're faster than that from what I have seen. I will tell you, it's about a 10th of a difference from me.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. So maybe, yeah, that could be a little bit. I haven't checked those numbers recently in comparison.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, dude. So we're at about 50 minutes in, man. So we're getting to the final segment here, the get it off your chest segment. All right.
Yeah.
So for the audience, I'll reiterate what that is, right? What is out there? Competitive shooting, self-defense / tactical shooting, the internet, whatever. That if people started doing something, they would get better, and if they stopped doing something, they would get better, right? Again, let's keep it to the context of the self-reliant lifestyle. Nobody cares about your neighbors. Well, you live on a farm. You don't have neighbors.
I don't have neighbors.
Don't talk about your goats.
I was going to complain about the goats, so I won't. It's all right.
Awesome. What you got, bro?
So I think two things. I think going out and competing was scary for me for the first time to go and do that. But I think there's a lot of people who just haven't tried it because they're afraid that, I don't know, they'll embarrass themselves or something like that.
The technical term is they're afraid they're going to get their shit pushed in.
You're right. Yeah. So which I was, and I have, and I still do. And so, to go out there and it doesn't matter what you have to shoot with. You don't have to go and buy a 2011, a custom 2011 and get all prepared and go shoot a match. You can go out there with anything that you have and shoot. And I think more people going to do that, they would get to see that. You get to see the level of skill that other people have, and you get to be exposed to that, and you get to, and it's a real motivator for you to practice. And so going out there and doing that is huge. And then secondly, I think setting goals for yourself to be better and not just, so I'm thinking about it. Like when I started USPSA, I didn't set goals along the way. Like I want to be, B class or A class or M class. I want to go to the, whatever's the best. I want to immediately set my goal there. Therefore you're not, like what's an A class draw time? What are the best people doing? What are the best people drawing and reloading at? And so immediately you're looking at what's potentially possible. And I think that's just accelerated kind of how fast you can get good by just putting a goal way out in front, and then anything that happens along the way, you're like, oh, cool, made A class, whatever, great, awesome. But that's not where I want to go.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's like a rest stop on the journey to getting to where you want to go, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm here. Let's keep on trucking.
Yeah, and then and I guess right along with that, and this has been said so much, and I've heard you say this a lot as well, is you shooting sports or for self-defense, you don't get good at something by just going and practicing, like maybe like a once a week, once a month. You don't get good by doing that. You have to practice. You have to dedicate time to it. It's like with anything else. It's like with driving. You're driving every day. You get good at things by practicing them, and you're not going to get good at shooting by not practicing.
Right. Or the next level of that is like, hey, bro, just talking about shooting doesn't make you a good shooter. Right?
Yeah, you can't just listen to a podcast and talk about it and get better. You have to go and do it. And I've heard that over and over again on your podcast, on so many other things. You got to go out and practice. Yep. And I think a ton can be done in dry fire without expending money. downrange, and you can do a ton there. And I don't know, you can do everything except for the literally just pulling the trigger at speed, and you can
Yeah,
almost do a little bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's obsessed with the 1 second draw and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I think it's an amazing building block, right? Uh, and in this community, it's how you get started with your Instagram famousness, right? But uh, everything I learned with my draw, everything I've ever taught, those epiphanies happened in dry fire.
Yep.
And then live fire was the confirmation of that practice.
Yeah.
Yep. With the draw, there are, I try and tell people, like, make the draw one thing, not 5 or 6 things, right? But there are components, there are transitions within the draw. But instead of getting those transitions to the most efficient point possible, all we focus on is the bang. That's all we focus on. And that's 5/100ths of a second, depending on how early you prep the trigger or not. Yeah. Right. All those things can be accomplished in dry fire. Every single one of those things can be accomplished in dry fire. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yep.
So awesome. Cool. Was that everything you wanted to get off, man? Off your chest?
Yeah, that's it. I don't have a lot, but awesome. Yeah, no, just go practice.
Yep. Crazy. Just go practice. Just go practice. And hunt those sources out there. People say you can't get better by listening to people on YouTube. I call bullshit on that, right? I'm not saying you don't need to go get training, although you're kind of an example of that. You've only had one formal training class, but technically you train almost every day by listening to people that you think give good information, right? And then you apply that practice. So yeah, man, awesome stuff. Hey, dude, thanks for being on here, man. I know you were a little timid when I reached out to you last night. You're like, dude, you know who you're talking to and stuff like that. But your example is what a guy with not a lot of resources, you adapted and overcame whatever deficiencies you had as far as equipment, right? Yeah. You collected the information and you worked your ass off and accomplished, internet, correct me if I'm wrong, put it down in the comments, right? But I don't know of another guy who made master shooting open from concealment. Plenty of masters do it, but I don't know a guy who actually did it in open. So you're a bit of a trendsetter there, man. And my opinion doesn't mean shit, dude, but I am super, super proud of you. And you fire me up to practice more, man. Seriously, dude. You really, really do. So,
likewise.
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate that. So, again, guys, if you want to come out and train with me, I'm sorry. Where can people find you? Do they need to find you? Are you going to start teaching?
They don't need to find me. Don't worry.
Dude, do you sell your cheese retail or wholesale, bro? Because that cheese is magic, bro. Right?
Yeah, they can find more on that on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and YouTube. So it's on Instagram. It's J Clay 94 on Instagram. J Beal. And then on YouTube it's just J Beal. And I put match videos up there.
Check them out, man. They're awesome.
Yeah, so it's just those two, and I got a Facebook as well, but I'm not very interesting, so people can.
Dude, you got to stop saying that shit. I beg to differ, man. You all out there doing your shit, and you're getting your shit pushed in by a goat cheese farmer, man. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing, man. So awesome. By the way, congratulations, right? You're expecting soon?
Oh yeah, yep. In April, we're expecting a little boy, hopefully, and so we'll, that's going to change my life, but that's for the best. And
100%, dude. Amazing, dude. You're we first became friends. You do what you always do. You friend a guy, start looking through, man. Your family is adorable, bro, and I'm sure the baby's only going to make it even more so. So, congratulations again. All right, guys. So, if you want to find me, you know where to go. Modern Samurai Project. com. Do me a favor, guys. Will you please subscribe, like? I hear this every time. Oh my God, you're putting out so much awesome information. I can't believe you only have 2,900 subscribers. Well, that's your fault, not mine. I'm doing my part. Please subscribe, like, comment. I don't care if you comment or not, man. Nah, go ahead, comment. It's all been good, right? Just Modern Samurai Project across Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you want to take a class with me, go to modernsamuraiproject.com, hit the classes button, sign up. I'm all across the country, man. If I'm not coming to you, you're not looking hard enough, right? But more importantly, be good, stay safe, get training.